Hey guys, so I'm recording a more detailed pullback training video. This way I can actually show you some better examples because I know I sent one out yesterday. It was pretty quick, but I think I want you guys to really be familiar with exactly how to use this in your trading style or technique. Whatever your trading style is, you can use this technique just for pullbacks. If you want to use this for other things, you can do that too. But this is specifically so that you can control whether or not you're jumping in on pullbacks. And again, you can't always control it. If news happens to hit right when you place a trade, that's something that's out of your control. It's out of all of our controls. But let's look at the first one here. So again, this is the cloud, and normally it would look something like that. Chaotic, I know. And this is how it's spelled. If you don't have it on your charts, you can just go to indicators, and then you're going to click on settings, which is this little circle right here. I take off the conversion line and these. So all you have to keep is the baseline and lagging line to be able to use this. So again, this is going to help you with your entries so that you enter when the trend is going the way you want it to, the way you're trading. So if you're in for a sell, this is going to help you jump in right when it's selling, as opposed to jumping in on a pullback when it's on a buy and you're selling, okay? And vice versa. Okay, and it'll also help you if you're in a trade and you're not sure when to jump out. Let's just say you have a small account, usually under $100, and you're not sure if your account will be able to hold a pullback, but you're in the money, you're looking at your MetaTrader 4, it's blue, and you're thinking, oh, I should jump out. When should I jump out? This will help you. You'll start to see when a pullback is coming, so you'll know, let me just take my profit, let me get out. Okay? All right, so this is the first one is GBP JPY. We're on the 1 minute. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And what you're looking at here is, you see it's very close to the candles and it's pointing down. And so is this one. So this one would be good for a sell. And you're probably looking at it saying, well, it seems to be pointing out a little bit. Doesn't that look like it's about to be a pullback? But I want you to look right beneath, and you see that blue candle? That means it was on a pullback. That's why you see that line there, because it was pulling back. But now if you see it's starting to curve down, which means it's going back to a sell. And if this was a buy, it would be the reversal. Okay? Now let's look at a different one. This is GBP USD, also on the 1 minute. And if you look at that baseline, it sort of looks the same. I'm going to make it bigger. So you see there's a line and then it starts to point out. Let's look at GBP JPY. There's a line and then it starts to point out. So what's the difference here? I'll show you. So this one, if you look directly below the line, you should see a pullback. That's the reason for that line, but you don't. So what does that mean for this pair here? It means that this is actually going down. I'm sorry, it's pulling back. I'm sorry, it is 1 in the morning, so don't mind me. Yeah, so this is starting to pull back right now. So if you look again at this one, how are you going to be able to tell the difference when you see two baselines that look similar, but yet one is actually pulling back and the other one is reversing from a pullback? It's actually going back into the sell. So how do you tell the difference? Whenever you see this curve, you want to see, was there a pullback? If there was a pullback, you look directly beneath and you see there it is, then it's starting to go back to a sell. Now you look at this one, you look right beneath, there was never a pullback. It's been on a sell this whole time. The only time there was a pullback was here, which that's why you see the straight line there. So this is now a pullback. So this was originally a line going down, and now it's starting to pull back. That's why you see the line. So that's how you can tell the difference. Hopefully that made sense. If it doesn't, please let me know and I'll do another video on that. Okay, this one, as you can see, they're not consistent. So one of my main things when I'm trading is consistency. Every confirmation I'm using has to tell me the same thing. I like to go for an average of 5 confirmations. I have used 6 and 7, but a majority of the time I stick with 5 confirmations. If all 5 confirmations are not consistent and in agreement, telling me the same thing, so if I'm putting in a trade for a buy, they all have to show me a buy. I can't have two showing me a buy and three showing me a sell and jump in the trade, because that's not a good trade. So right here, this is inconsistent. This is showing that this trade is moving down, a sell, and this is showing that it's moving up. So which is it? So if you see this, you have to go check other time frames and see what's going on. Now, if you see this on multiple time frames, stay out of this trade. It's probably consolidating, or there's a possibility it's in a reversal. You're in the middle of a reversal, or news just dropped, which would explain the inconsistency, because it was probably supposed to be going one way and then now just shooting the other way. Okay, so whenever you see that, really pay attention and really think about if you want to jump in that trade, because especially if you see this on multiple time frames, it's probably not a high probability trade. And again, we're not just trying to take a million trades and throw them up against the wall and see what sticks. We're trying to take high probability trades that are pretty much accurate when you're taking them, so that your chances of losing that trade are very small. Okay, let's look at another one. So if you look at this one, you can see there's a major pullback right there. That's why you see the line. But sometimes you'll actually look at a trade. Let's see if I actually see one. Hold on. Let me see if I see one on another. Okay, I don't see it right now. Okay. Sometimes you'll look at a trade. This is clearly a buy, right? We're on the 1 hour, and this is clearly a pullback. Sometimes you'll look at a trade and you'll see this baseline is flat, but you don't see any pullback here. You'll see that it's shooting straight up. So why the flat line? Why is it showing me that there's a pullback when it's clearly a buy? And the reason for that is whenever you see that, I mean, again, this do not use this picture, because this picture is clearly showing you a pullback. But if you were to see the same exact chart and you don't see a pullback, but this line is flat, that's because there's a pullback happening on a lower time frame. So there's going to be a pullback happening either on the 1 minute, the 3 minute, 5, 15, 30, or 45. Regardless of which time frame the pullback's happening, you might want to rethink jumping in this trade right now, especially if it's happening on the 1 minute. If you see a pullback happening on the 1 minute, wait it out. It probably won't be that long. Just wait it out, and that way you get to jump in the trade, and it won't be long before you're in profit. Because one thing I hate is jumping in a trade and sitting it out 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes while it's on a pullback, because I'm a scalper. I could have been in a different trade that was moving. So that's money I lost while I was sitting and waiting. So and for a lot of you that don't have a big account, you don't know how big that pullback could be, and it could actually eat up your margins, or it could blow your account. So why risk it, right? So if you can avoid it, try to avoid it. Again, you can't always avoid it, especially with news, but this will keep you out of a lot more pullbacks than if you don't do it this way. Okay, so again, if you do see this and you don't see a pullback, it's probably because there's a pullback on a lower time frame. So check the lower time frames, especially the 1 minute. And if you happen to see it on the 1 minute, wait till it's over. Okay? Now, if you look at this, now the closer the baseline is to the candles, the better the trade. So if you see, this is directly, it's like right on top of the candles. It's pointing out a little because, as you can see, there's a pullback there. But this is about to point straight down here. So this is a good sell. We're on the 1 minute, so again, I'm not going to say that this is definitely a sell. I didn't check all the charts, but you can see this is definitely a sell because it's so close. The farther this baseline gets from the candles, the more you know a pullback is coming. And the farther it is, the bigger the pullback, just so you know. Okay. Now, if you look at this one, this is starting to point down. So this was originally a pullback. As you can see, this is a pullback here. So that's why you see the flat line. And then it's starting to curve down. So it's going back into a sell. And you can see the lagging line was probably facing up. And now it's starting to face down as well. You don't have to wait for the lagging line to point all the way down, because chances are you were watching this anyway, so you noticed that it had been pointing up and now it's starting to flip around. So you can jump in now that you see that's curved, this is coming back around. This is a good trade to jump in. We're on the 5 minute. I would normally be on the 1 minute before making that decision though. Okay. Now this one's kind of far from the candles. Now this is good. This is pointing down. This is also starting to point down, but it's still far from me, which tells me that either the pullback is not over or it's in consolidation. It's one of the two. So whenever it's far like that, it's still in consolidation. So it's just going to keep, I like to call it dancing, where it goes up and down, up and down. So it's just going to keep dancing right here for a little while until you see that baseline get close, and then it's going to make a move up or down, wherever it's going, right? And if not, it's still far because there's still a major pullback underway. So it's one of the two. But either way, if it's not close to the candles, pay attention to that because there's a reason for that. Okay, hold on. What happened to the? Okay. Now this one's pointing straight down. You see the lagging line right there, and this baseline is right on top of this sell candle. So this is a definite sell whenever you see it like that. I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, I'm gonna go over what that was in another video. Okay, so this is a buy. I wanted you to see what a buy is. Hold on one second. Okay. So when you're looking at this buy, I want you to notice that this lagging line, this baseline is far from the candles. And I just told you whenever it's far from the candles, it probably means because it's in consolidation or it's waiting on a pullback. But in this case, I want you to see how this candle, this baseline, unlike the other one, which was kind of straight, the tip of it was still straight. This one is pointing up. And let me show it to you again, just so you see the difference. You see that? That baseline is still pretty straight. But when you look at this one, it's pointing up. So what this tells me is that it's just finishing a big time reversal pullback. That's why it's still so far. But it's about to shoot up, and we're on the daily here, so this would take a little while. But if we were on the hour and you saw this, it would probably take about 15 to 30 minutes before it got close to the candles again. But when you see this, the pointing straight up or straight down, depending on which way it's going, that's a good sign that it's just coming out of a pullback. So that would be a good trade to jump in here for a buy. And that's it. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'm going to shoot another video on what that was that I had on the screen here. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to leave that on there. But okay. All right, take care, everyone.